Aaron Rodgers came out today. He practiced this morning, which is great news for Packers fans. And let's keep it real. That's great news for NFL fans. If you like the NFL, you might hate the Packers. You might hate Aaron Rodgers. But it's good news for you that he's practicing because he's a great player. He makes the game and the league much more interesting and competitive. And so it's great. But he came out after practice and spoke. And I'll give him credit. He bared his soul. He was very forthcoming, very transparent about why he was so upset with the team and where things stand now. He didn't seem to sugarcoat anything. I watched it live. And here's an excerpt of what he said.
I wanted to help the organization maybe learn from them some of the mistakes in the past, in my opinion, about the way that some of the outgoing veterans were treated, and just the fact that we didn't retain a number of players that I felt like were core players to our foundation, our locker room, high character guys. I'm talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb, James Jones, John Kuhn, Brett Good, TJ Lang, Brian Balaga, Casey Hayward, Micah Hyde, guys who were, exceptional players for us, but great locker room guys, high character guys. Many of them who weren't offered a contract at all, or were extremely lowballed, or were, maybe in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that guys of their status and stature and high character deserved. I've trained with a number of NFL guys most of my career in the off seasons. My agency, Athletes First, has had a number of high draft picks over the years. I've tried to pass along information. Hasn't really been used, shall we say. So I wanted to offer my services as a recruiter. And I think we can all understand, Green Bay isn't, a huge vacation destination. People are coming here to play with me, to play with our team, and knowing that they can win a championship here. And the fact that I haven't been used in those discussions was one I wanted to change moving forward. And I felt like based on my years, the way I can still play, that should be a natural part of the conversation. As that progressed from that point, nothing really changed on that front.
Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he obviously had to just come clean and put it all out there so that we can move past it. You know what I mean? If he were to play coy and didn't say anything, then it would be like, oh, here we go. It's going to drag out. Everybody's going to still be trying to figure out, you know what I mean, what's happened. I think he did a good
more
thing.
Leaks and all that, right.
Just to put it out there. And he made a lot of positive, a lot of poignant points, Chris, that makes sense, that, about him trying to, be a recruiter and talk about different things and whatnot. And I hear all that. I don't think that, maybe the way he made it so public, but maybe he felt he had no other choice but to go public. You know what I mean?
Well, Rob, he did say this, and look, he said, I'll give you my opinion after I tell you. First, he said he had nothing whatsoever to do with the leaks. He was like, I don't know what in the world I would have to gain from leaking this story on draft day, from leaking these. He mentioned another instance. I can't remember what it was, but he said he had nothing to do with them. And he said his representation has assured him that they had nothing to do with it as well. Now, Rob, essentially, then that would mean it was the Packers. But my assumption, my guess, Rob, is that it was his agent. And that would mean his agent lied straight to Aaron Rodgers. Now, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't see how in the world this could have benefited the Packers to leak this stuff. But I can see how it would benefit Rodgers. Like, you know what I mean? That's my opinion, but I don't know.
I don't know where it came from. It's easy to say nobody said it. I don't think the Packers, why would the Packers leak that on draft night? I don't think that made any sense.
Or period, because it was all negative about them, essentially. I do believe Rodgers didn't do it. Like, I believe he didn't do it, but I feel like his agent probably did.
Yeah, you just don't, you really don't know. And I get why he's trying to cover his tracks, to say that I wasn't the guy doing it, especially given his reputation, which was really, Chris, you said it earlier, that he really wasn't the guy who talked or, made a big stink about stuff. They got rid of his quarterback coach, you remember? There was no he really didn't like it, but I don't remember him making a big stink publicly or even leaking stories that he was upset or anything. I just remember him saying they didn't consult me, right? They just got rid of him. So, but I thought overall the only issue, and I'll say this before you get to your point, is I think it's a double-edged sword when you talk about players and getting them involved and listening to them. Because do you really want, Chris, and this is what you have to ask yourself if you're a player, do you want them to have you at the table, nod to you, say, okay, yeah, great, all right, great input, and then go do what they want to do, and it's not what you want? So then you would say, they don't listen to me, I'm pissed, I wasted my time, they still cut the guy, they still didn't sign the guy I was talking about. Do you know what I mean? Or do you not want to be so caught up in all that? I think there's certain times and situations, and I think Charlie Casterly, Chris, who we used to be on the show or whatever, Charlie always talked about this as a GM. He never asked it for another player's permission. But if you say to him, hey, what do you think of this guy? Do you know him? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
What have you heard about him from other players in the league? I think that's something that's valuable. But once you get into that, if you're a player, are you now mad that they're not listening to you? Right? If you're Damian Lillard and you say, I want Jason Kidd to be the next coach, and they hire Chauncey Billups, are you mad, Chris, or not?
No, I think you make a valid point, Rob.
That's all. That's all.
And first of all, you used the right term. You said double-edged sword. And it is a double-edged sword. Let's just say you get really involved, and they're running virtually everything by you. Coach, who's going to be the next coach? Not necessarily doing everything you want, but you are like, it's more than, hey, Aaron, Jordy Nelson, we feel like he's lost a step. We're thinking about releasing him. What do you see out there? That I think that's valid. Aaron understanding, look, I can give my opinion. They may not do what I want, but there are certain situations where it would be natural to go to the quarterback. We're looking at this free agent receiver. You like him? You think he'd fit in our scheme? Stuff like that. Or even this cornerback. Is he any good? You throw against him. What do you think about this? Does this guy scare you? Things like that. But if you go beyond that, Rob, here's the thing that very few people have mentioned, if anybody. It can also put you at odds with your teammates. If your teammates know that you are in bed with the front office and having a major say in the moves, and a teammate doesn't get the money he wanted or doesn't get the offer he wanted or gets, whatever, that could put you at odds with your teammates. There were early in Magic Johnson's career, we all know he was very close with the owner, Jerry Buss. And some of the players resented that. Some of the players resented Magic. Like, he's too close to the ownership.
Right.
And so that can put you at odds. But beyond that, Rob, you could be wrong about some stuff. And so my point is, I do think Aaron does deserve to be consulted about a few things here and there. But there's a limit. That's my thing. There's a limit. A player can't be hiring the coach. Not in the NFL. Now, I think, Rob, these guys are seeing the NBA guys, the LeBron Jameses, and other players have a big time say. But
other than
different.
LeBron, who has the biggest say? Like, I hear everybody say the NBA.
Well, I think in Brooklyn,
Russell Westbrook,
Kyrie.
Who else?
I think in Brooklyn, KD and Kyrie had a big say. They were consulted about Nash. They even said, Kyrie was like, we don't need a coach.
No, but who else in the league is really dictating?
Yeah, it's only a handful. It's only a handful. But they saw Harden leave. They saw Anthony Davis leave. That's some type of power play.
Yeah, but people have forced their way out. I get that. I just don't think that it's bigger than LeBron and maybe if you want to say the Nets, but I just don't think it's a widespread.
Nah, it's
You know
not
what I
like
mean?
every star has that type of juice. I'll give you that.
If that was the case, Damian Lillard wouldn't be barking. He would have told them what to do, and that
Right.
hasn't happened, right?
Right. And I also think, Rob, they're looking at Tom Brady in Tampa.
Yeah, and me and you, we talked off, pre-show, and I just think sometimes like too much is made of the players. It's not like Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and said, trade this third-round pick and go get this guy and do this
Right.
and do that. Most of the guys who they picked up, Chris, were all available.
Everybody could have gotten
Right.
AD.
Everybody.
And it was a smart move by Brady, right? I mean, the dude,
But
nobody thought
he was
could play.
available. He was available.
Rob
Right.
Gronkowski was retired.
Was retired wrestling. He was out there.
Teams could have made him an offer. And yeah, he probably wouldn't have went anywhere to play other than with Brady because that's.
But
his
it wasn't
boy,
like
which
they
is
gave up
understandable.
something to make a move to get him. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, I
and
think
Leonard
that's a little
Fournette
overblown.
had gotten cut by the worst team in the league.
Right.
And nobody else wanted him. So I agree with you. But it seems to me that that's what is happening. I'm glad Aaron bore his soul. Some of it seems like, you got your panties in a bunch over, I'm not going to say over nothing, but it's not huge, that big of a deal. James Jones on the NFL Network, I haven't seen him rip the Packers for how they let him go. So what'd you guys think? 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Aaron Rodgers talked about why he's upset with the team. Did you agree with him or disagree? Your turn to weigh in. It's the Odd Couple, Chris and Rob, Fox Sports Radio.